Welcome to Rocky Broad Solar, where we encourage you to make the current flow. On today's episode, we are going to walk you through how to add an EG4 314 amp hour battery to an existing bank of 280 amp hour batteries. Let's get into it. Okay, so we've got our battery open. Comes with this little antenna for connecting it via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. We got our mounting bracket if you're mounting an inverter over top of it. In my case, I don't have the clearance to do so. We've got our 2 positive and 2 negative battery cables with integrated Degson connectors. Like we got some expansion bolts and a couple eye hooks here that connect to the side of the battery for easier lifting. And we've got a little Ethernet cable and a couple 4-pin ports, more than likely to connect those normally open, normally closed contactors. So we've got our mounting bracket in. I usually use a lot more of these big, beefier 3/8 Tapcons, but that was just the last one I had. But they're all secure, and really we're not holding this battery off the ground, we're just holding it against the wall. I feel pretty good about this bracket. Let's go ahead and try to get this battery installed. you're getting value out of today's content, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, press that notification bell, or leave a comment down in the description below. Let's get back into it. Alright, so my camera turned off while I was doing the unboxing, but essentially this is the wall mount conduit box, indoor. This fits any of your EG4 hybrid or off-grid inverters. Stacks on top of the battery. It comes with 2 different sets of screws, some knockout plugs, and some knockout strain reliefs. Installing solar and battery systems, especially in a code-compliant manner where you're going to pass your inspection, can be difficult for you do-it-yourselfers out there. I understand this is a complex project even for someone that's been in the industry for 15 years. Hey, sometimes some people just need a little bit of extra help and guidance. If that's you, go to www.rockybroadsolar.com. Check out our free ultimate DIY guide. You just go to the website, you click that download button, and you download the guide for free. It can really help out for those of you that need a little more guidance. Let's get back into it. Well, unfortunately, my camera came off when I was crimping these ground lugs onto my ground wire, but I do have examples of that in previous videos of my FlexBOSS GridBOSS install series, so if you want to take a look at that, feel free. I'm not personally going to be using these normally open or normally closed contactors on my system, at least not right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just put these in the terminal blocks so I don't end up losing them. If you're looking into purchasing a 314 amp hour wall mount battery or any other EG4 equipment, go ahead down in the description below, check out our affiliate links and coupon codes that you can stack on top of any deals going on at this time to get even more money off before you make that final purchase. Let's get back into it. So I got my standard battery paralleling kit from EG4 here. Some nice pre-made cables so I don't have to crimp my own. Now before flipping all these on in parallel, you want them all to the same state of charge. It's super cloudy and rainy out today. I think these were sitting at about 70%. I'm not sure what this one ships at. But what we'll probably go ahead and do is flip this one on separate from those two, leave those off. Go ahead and see if I can get it paired up with the inverter. We're going to go ahead and fire up our Champion, just portable generator out there. Send that power in here through the Chargeverter and get this thing charged up to 100%. Once that's done, we are going to flip this one off, flip these two back on, let the Chargeverter charge those up to 100%, and then we're going to turn all of them all on in parallel. Alright, so a few things to note here when you're paralleling a 314 amp hour wall mount battery with existing 280 amp hour wall mount batteries. You're going to need to make the 314 amp hour the leader battery, and then the communication cables between the 314 amp hour battery and the 280s, and then between the two 280s in my case, are going to be special cables. They're not going to be your standard Cat 5 RS485 cable. They're only going to be utilizing 2 out of the 8 wires, and the manual specifically says that only pins 7 and 8 should be used between the 314 and the 280, and between all the 280s thereafter. So in my case, I've got one 314 amp hour battery, 2 280 amp hour batteries, so I'm going to have to crimp 2 special cables to connect the 314 to the 280 and the 280 to the 280. Then we're going to have to set the pins on these second and third batteries to differentiate them as the second and third batteries in the chain. Lastly, we're going to need to install this little termination resistor in the 314 amp hour battery in the communication 2 port. And that's, I guess, because that is the master battery, it's going to get this little jumper. So let's go ahead and crimp these cables. I've already stripped 2 ends. I'm going to strip the other 2. And I'm going to keep the color codes the same that I always do. So we're just going to use brown, white, and brown as the 2 wires that are going to be utilized. I'm going to go ahead and cut all the other wires away. I'll go ahead and crimp these 2 ends on. I want to measure that wire to where this little strain relief part of the connector is going to bite the sheathing. So I'm going to have to cut, you know, centimeter off of that or so. And I want brown, white in 7, brown in 8, and that is with this little clip here facing away from the connector. This might be difficult. I think I got it. All right, we're going to call that good. We'll do this end. I would imagine you can buy these cables pre-made because a lot of people just don't have these tools, and you know there's a really high chance of human error with human crimped ends. So I'm gonna check that out. If they do pre-make these cables, I'll go ahead and drop a link down in the description. Alright, so this is our 314 amp hour battery. We got our CAN port heading back to the inverter. I'm going to put this termination resistor here in the comms 2 port. Okay, so next we're going to set the dip switches. This is the second battery in the chain. So I am going to set the dip switches. It is already set to battery number 2. The 2 is down. I need, oh, what looks like that last one went down by accident somehow. There we go. So that one's set to battery 2. And then battery 3 is going to have both the first and second pins down. So that is now marked as battery 3. Alright, so yesterday I got the 314 charged up to 100% using my standby generator and the Chargeverter. And I had this communicating with the inverter. I had this, the only battery that was connected, and I watched that state of charge climb up to 100%. I then disconnected this battery using the circuit breaker and the on-off button, and I energized these two batteries. I'm completely disconnected from the inverter. I'm just connected to the bus that my Chargeverter is connected to, and my wire trough over there. So now I'm getting these up to charge. It was getting late last night, and I didn't want to bug the neighbors with the generator running. So at this point, I'm just waiting for these two batteries to get up to 100% state of charge, because what they tell you in the manual is to make sure that every single battery is at the same state of charge before sort of putting them in parallel and commissioning them. So we're sitting at 86%. I'm going to let this thing run until these are charged up to 100%, and then we're going to go ahead and go through the commissioning process. Alright, so we've got everything hooked up. It says to turn the new 314 on first, to let it run for at least 5 seconds before turning on the next ones in the chain. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, so both of my 280s are coming in. They say they're at 100%, but they're both listed as charging. One at about 4 amps, one at about 2. You'll see over here on the 280, we've got 100% blinking and run blinking. Okay, so I just got off the phone with someone at Signature. Just really do love their tech support. I've never been let down yet. So it turns out when you have one single 314 amp hour battery going to 280s, you're going to have these cables, this termination resistor in opposite direction. In my opinion, their little paralleling guide, which I'm going to link down in the description, isn't entirely clear on this because it shows two different illustrations, and it doesn't really, in my opinion, clarify which section you're going to use in what scenario. But if you have one single 314 and then you've got 280s down the line, you're going to put that termination resistor in COM 1 port, and you're going to have the COMS 2 port feeding from the 314 over to the 280. Now, if you have multiple 314s, that's going to be backwards. You're going to have that termination resistor over in the COMS 2 port, and this wire in the COMS 1 port feeding the next batteries down the line. So, again, that is going to change. Now, this is with paralleling 314s with 280s in all scenarios. but it just depends on how many of the 314s you have. Again, if you have one, you're going to wire it like that. If you have two, these two are going to be flip-flopped. Next is they had me change the protocol here on my 280s. So you will see we're now on P07 Lux for the 280s. We were, I believe, on P01 EG4 before. I'm not sure the reasoning there, but they did have me change that. If you want to change it, you go to settings, you go to CAN, you type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, check, and then you pick P07 Lux, whereas again before these were set to, I guess, EG4 Lux there. That setting wouldn't really take. It took a couple times, basically, and there's no enter, so it's a little confusing. But you just press it. I've pressed it a couple times. It didn't really change much. I had to turn the batteries off and on a couple times, and then finally the settings took. Alright, and you'll see here on our device monitor app, once everything is connected, you go down to that battery section, and you're going to see all 3 batteries showing up online. Before I called tech support, I was only getting that battery 0, and I was really having trouble getting battery 2 and 3 to get communicating. But it turns out it was just that termination resistor and having everything in the correct locations. If you're installing an EG4 GridBOSS FlexBOSS combo in your home, make sure to go to our playlist and check out the full installation series. I think we're up to about 17 videos now on the channel. Well, everyone, we're going to do some follow-up testing videos on this setup as the weeks go on. But I think that's all we've got for you here today. So as always, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, take care.